Samantha Moss. She's a senior student here at Kalamazoo College, and she recently worked at Discover Kalamazoo. I am so excited to talk to them about their job. Sam, welcome to Careerish.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Okay, before we get into your job at Discover Kalamazoo, I would like to backtrack a little bit and ask you about Kalamazoo College. How did you learn about this small liberal arts school, and what made you want to come to college here?
Yeah, so I'm actually from Atlanta, Georgia. So my journey here was probably not very orthodox, I guess, in a sense. I play softball at Kalamazoo College, and I always knew I wanted to play softball in college, and I obviously did not want to sacrifice my education for that. And so I was looking at some smaller liberal arts schools in the South. However, that just did not really match what I was wanting to get out of a college. And one of my family friends, he actually played tennis here. He was part of like the dynasty in the 70s and 80s. That was really good. So he was like, why don't you just go up to Kalamazoo College, give it a shot and see what it's like. And so here I am 4 years later.
So you're a legacy kid then?
In some way, it's not my family, but it's a family friend. So I guess in some way, yeah.
He was so he did tennis. I'm sorry. I know that Kalamazoo College's big thing here is tennis.
Yeah, exactly.
What was his name, if you mind me asking?
Yeah, he was Chris Buzzard. I'm pretty sure he was a 3-time All-American. So pretty big deal.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Still playing tennis to this day. He's a great guy. So
wow. That's insane. That's impressive. It's cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So now let's go back a little bit to the internship, because we wanted you to come on the show in the first place because you did a really cool internship during the summer of 2022. Can you tell the listeners what the internship was? I know it was with Discover Kalamazoo, but what did the company do and what did you get to do there?
Yeah, so Discover Kalamazoo is like the visitors bureau for both the city and the county of Kalamazoo. So their list of duties is pretty wide as they do a lot of things. There's their main goal is to bring as many visitors as well as attractions to the city of Kalamazoo to generate revenue for both like the small businesses, local places, as well as like hotels and everything like that. So at Discover Kalamazoo, they're kind of divided into a few divisions in a sense. There's like the sports where they focus on like bringing tournaments in for kids, as well as like the wings, just like other sporting events. Actually, my first week at Discover Kalamazoo, I learned so much, including that Kalamazoo actually hosts one of the largest dog shows in the world, which I had no idea about. And my first day on the job, I got to go visit or like go to the dog show, which was, what's better than like dogs on your first day at a new job? So
nothing just gets better than that.
No, literally. So yeah, I learned a lot about the city that I've been residing in for the past 3 years. So I really enjoyed my time with Discover Kalamazoo and just like learning about all of both like the local places and the events and type of people that come visit Kalamazoo.
Nice. How did you learn about this internship with Discover Kalamazoo? And what made you want to like intern there in general?
Yeah. So both like the summer going into my junior year and then last summer was when I worked with Discover Kalamazoo, I've been eligible to interview for I had the opportunity to go after some internships through the CCE, which is the Center for Civic Engagement. They're called community building internships. And so if you're like fall within some financial bracket, then you're eligible to work for those. And so it's a stipend program that you stay in Kalamazoo for the summer. If it's remote, you can go wherever. But for my 2 CBIs that I did, they were both in Kalamazoo. And so I just got on Handshake once I got the email that I was eligible. And there's like a list of places that are looking for interns from Kalamazoo College. And when I saw that Discover Kalamazoo was one of them, I immediately knew I wanted to apply for that one just because I am an economics major and I just like love looking at economic development and stuff like that. So I felt like it would be a really good match for me. And I was fortunate enough to make it through the interview process. And once I met with the 2 interviewees, I really enjoyed them and it felt like it was a good match. So I was fortunate enough to get the position for the summer.
Backing up a little bit, I know you talked a bit about the different little I wouldn't say holes, but like little specific areas such as sports and the dog show. Mm-hmm. What was the area that you were working in, or was it like you were working in all of them?
Yeah. So the way that the CCE works is they really want to work on like diversity and inclusion.
Oh, no, sorry.
No, I'm getting there. I promise.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. So my job, like my role with at Discover Kalamazoo was with the meeting sales team, and their job is to bring in events to Kalamazoo. So like, let's say there's like an author for a book and she's having a book signing, like there's cities that kind of like bid to be the city that hosts this, and just
Oh,
like events like that. So I was on the meeting sales team, but my role was to look for events that kind of are a representation of the community and the people that live in Kalamazoo, just because like part of Kalamazoo is like, or part of like Discover Kalamazoo's reach is like the car club. I'm like literally blanking on the name.
you're doing
In
a great job.
Galesburg, it's like the biggest car show in like the United States, which is like great, but like
Mhm.
the people that is reaching is like white older men. That's just like
Yeah.
people. So our goal this summer was to see if we can find events that are looking in the next couple of years or next 2 years to like find a home for those events. But we want those events to be a better representation of the diversity that Kalamazoo has. So that's what I worked on.
What was one of the events that you were able to bring to Kalamazoo then? I don't know if it's happened already or if it will happen in the future or something like that. But
Yeah, so part of the process was learning how slow this all develops.
okay.
So I actually learned a lot about like event planning, which I didn't really know actually anything about going into it. But the way it works is my goal was to organize a familiarization tour, which is where you get these event planners to come to your
Mhm.
city and then you set up like an itinerary of things to do once you're in Kalamazoo,
Mhm.
just to be like, so if your like event comes here, these are the things that you can like, these are the places that you can go to. Like here's the like the air zoo, like this is a place where you can have like X amount of people. Like it was like walking through hotels and being like, the Radisson has like this number block people, this amount of conference rooms. So it's very much like event planning. And I didn't really expect that, but I was able to learn a lot through it. So my goal was to organize a familiarization tour. And in doing so, I had to find like potential clients or like event planners, which also proved to be a lot more challenging than one would think. So like my goal this summer was like mostly researching, like a lot of researching about different like diversity events. So I was like looking at like women in aviation, especially Black women in aviation or Black people in aviation, because we
Mhm.
do have the air zoo, which is a big attraction. And also the car show. I was looking at like women in automobile clubs that are like looking for like a weekend outing and stuff like that.
Nice.
Yeah.
That sounds intense, but nice.
Yeah, a lot of research for sure. I for sure developed a lot of research skills.
That's amazing to hear. I wanted to ask you what pushed you towards tourism and this type of stuff in general. I know you touched on it a little bit, but if you could.
Yeah, I just felt like I've been like Kalamazoo's been my home for the past 3.5 years. And I just wanted to know a little bit more about the people that live here, what type of people come visit here. And especially, I don't know, I think like being able to learn about the small businesses, because that was also part of what I had to research. I was able to research like what businesses also reflect the diversity that Kalamazoo has. So I was able to learn a lot about like woman-owned business and Black-owned businesses and just like learn a lot about the place that I'm residing in. And also it turned out to be really cool because once I was learning about these places, I also wanted to go with my friends. So it's kind of like a full circle moment.
That's good. That's amazing.
Mhm.
Did you working here? I know you talked a little bit about how your idea of what event planning was totally shifted when you
Mhm.
actually got in here and started working on it and doing this. But are there specific like stories or something you want to tell about how that changed, how this in-depth look at this specific industry like changed your idea about it?
Yeah, I mean, I think I learned that it's not something that I'd want to go into in the future, which is
Okay.
just as important as finding what you want to do.
Mhm.
It's just like a lot of like not only building a relationship with people, but also like a lot of lining up schedules, trying to make a lot of people happy with very different schedules and very different goals at the end of their schedules.
Mhm.
And so I don't know, there was times where I got really frustrated just because all of our deadlines just kept getting pushed back because just things were not happening the way that we had
Yeah.
anticipated it to. So I don't know. I think it was a little bit too much like middle manning for my personal liking, which I didn't really know going into it, but I learned a lot about myself and how event planning works.
That's amazing. Okay. Obviously, we touched a little bit about how this internship did affect your future career plans because you realized you didn't want to go into this.
Hmm.
um, uh, Even though you didn't want to go into this field now anymore, was there
Hmm.
things that you actually truly enjoyed about working there that you would want to seek out in future employment?
Yeah, of course. I really enjoyed the people that I worked with. Vivian was kind of my mentor there. She was also new to Kalamazoo, so I felt like we kind of bonded over that a little bit. She's a very mother-like figure. But I think that everyone there was really nice and super helpful in my transition to being in like a big girl workplace. Um, Brian, he worked on the sports side. And as I mentioned, I played softball. So I felt like I got along with him really well. And I kind of had a good understanding of what he was doing and what his role looked like on the sports side. I know we kind of joked around. I was like, dang, I should be your intern. But yeah, I think that I learned a lot about professionalism in the workplace.
Mhm.
And just like, because I mean, I was like getting dressed up, going into an office downtown every day. So there was a lot that was good that I can take away from that.
Nice. Okay. Um, what resources truly helped you along the way to getting and achieving this internship? I know that you worked through the Center for Civic Engagement. So if you could talk a little bit about how that helped you, how they helped you get that internship.
Yeah, so a big thing about the CCE at Kalamazoo College is that they find the importance in reflecting over what you're doing in the community, not just about like actually doing it, but like talking about it and taking things away from it. So all of the CBIs, I think there's probably between like 15 and 20 of them.
Mhm.
We had weekly reflections. So 2 summers ago, I worked with Building Blocks, which was another cool internship that I did.
Oh, okay.
It was also a CBI through the CCE. And so there was like those ones. There's a few at the city of Kalamazoo and like economic development. There were some like at the Peace House, just like a wide variety of different interns that we would meet on a weekly basis. And we would have like a nice little dinner and we would just kind of like talk through kind of like what we were doing and like the impacts that we felt we were having with the community and just like a lot of emphasis on like communities and just like how they work and what we're learning. And also the like bosses of all of the interns would
Mhm.
come in and just like, I don't know, it was a deep reflection is the best way to put it on a weekly basis, which was
Okay. Yeah. When you went through, what was it? Here's a question. Was your internship with Discover Kalamazoo paid?
yeah. So all of the CCE internships, yeah, the CBIs, they all got stipend, which was really nice.
Oh, perfect. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was going to ask about the because one of the things I know a lot of kids in college when they're able to land a really great internship, they'll pay
Hmm.
for an experience. An experience will not pay the electricity bill. So
Right. No, literally.
yeah, the stipends. How did that help you out with this?
Yeah, I thought that was I actually did get an email that they just put out the CBIs for next year on Handshake and it's a little bit more of a stipend, but I guess we can blame inflation for that one. But I think it was pretty sufficient. I was able to stay in Kalamazoo, continue paying my rent for my house and like live off of it pretty well. So I think for like the work that I was doing, I felt like it was a pretty fair amount of pay.
Yay. Okay. Um, we are going to take a quick break and we will be
Okay.
back momentarily. Okay, welcome back to Careerish. We're going to jump right on in, and I'm going to ask you what was one thing you wish you would have known when you started interning?
Yeah, I wish that I had known a little bit more about the scope of what I was doing. It's actually really funny. My introduction, like a little breakfast, my first day in, my boss, she asked me to share with the table what I was doing and what my project was. And I was like, oh, I actually like don't think I know what it is yet. And she was like, oh my gosh. So Kristen, she told everyone, including myself at the time, what it was. And I was like, wow, that sounds really great. I just um maybe that was probably my bad for not asking
Mhm.
enough questions throughout the interview process. But I just don't think I realized, like I said before, like how much in event planning I truly was doing. Um, so yeah, I think that was probably my like biggest misunderstanding.
What was, I know that was your biggest misunderstanding. What was like one specific challenge that you came up while working at Discover Kalamazoo, and how did you end up solving it?
Yeah. So like I said earlier, I spent a lot of time compiling a list of different either organizations or people that are looking to have events. And the way in which I did this was actually really complicated. I did kind of like a reverse Google search
Okay.
of hotel phone numbers in like
Oh,
cities that are similar to Kalamazoo. So kind of like looking at like in the Midwest, I know people wouldn't want to travel more than 2 to 4 hours. So I looked at cities like Grand Rapids, Lansing, Fort Wayne, South Bend, cities like that that are like similar population size to Kalamazoo. And I typed in their phone number because when people have events, they put the hotel's phone number in. So I spent hours upon hours trying to find events. And then once I found like a certain event, maybe it was like from 2017, I'd like look up to see if they're looking for an event for later on. And so I compiled like a huge data set of people who were interested or had events in the past. And my biggest issue once I got there was like either connecting with people or like having the wrong contact information. I probably sent about 200 to 300 unanswered emails, which is really frustrating. Just like letting people know about like Kalamazoo and like what I was trying to plan, which just kept pushing everything back. So I think that my biggest issue was like connecting with the right people, and in an effective way on like the time scale that I wanted.
no, yeah, emails are a special level of hell, I think.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially when I'd like email somebody and I'll be like, oh my God, I saw you through this event 3 years ago. Are you looking to do this again? And they'd either be like, oh, because of COVID, this group no longer exists, or I stopped working there 3 years ago. Here's this person. And I'll reach out to that person and it just kept going and going. So it's like a never ending loop.
Emails that never get answered. And then you have the telephone game change of like, I no longer work at this organization anymore. Here's someone
Right.
that does. And then they're like, I
Right.
actually don't work there either.
Right. And they're like, please never reach out to me again. I'm like, oh my God, I swear.
Thanks, will do.
Yeah.
Okay, what was a welcome surprise when it came to working at Discover Kalamazoo? And how did you adjust to it?
Yeah, I think it was learning about how many people come visit Kalamazoo and the events that Kalamazoo has that I just literally never would have think about.
Mm-hmm.
Also the like the group, like how many associations there are. Like if you can think about it, there's an association for it. There's like this kind of like software that has like all of the groups that have come and like the bids that they put up and like barber organizations, choir organizations, like an association for like Black chorus barbers. I'm like, what? Like a quartet. I'm like, it's just, there's so many organizations and associations out there that I like have never even thought of would exist, but they're all out there.
That's insane. So there's a Black barbershop quartet organization.
Yes, and they frequently visit Kalamazoo. So
That's amazing. Were you able to book them?
I think that we have them locked down for the next like 10 years or something crazy. So
wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Now we're going to switch gears and go a little bit back to Kalamazoo College and Kalamazoo College students in general. What advice would you give to other K students as they try to find internships?
Yeah, for sure. I think my biggest advice to K students in regards to like internship or just like surviving Kalamazoo College in general is you truly get out of it what you put into it.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like whenever I hear people say they have bad experience at Kalamazoo College, it's like they weren't really throwing themselves out there. And I feel like every opportunity you have to like do something cool, like you really need to seize it because like it truly is like you get out of it what you put into it. And using resources like the CCPD and the CCE to find internships is like the best way to go about it. Even if you don't like reach the financial aid requirements of the CCE, I'm sure they can connect you with an organization that they're familiar with because there's tons of them.
Okay. What would you say then to other Kalamazoo College students that are specifically interested in possibly going into a similar field that you did, or that you are currently now looking for, not internships, but since you're a senior, like full-time jobs? Sorry. To remind you of that. But what would you say to those people, those individuals?
Ooh, I don't even know if I can answer that because I'm honestly struggling with that myself. If anybody has any advice to give to me, I'm like all ears. But I think something that I'm working on a lot right now is alumni connections. Just because for the past like probably 3 or 4 months, I've been cold applying to jobs on like Handshake and LinkedIn and like pretty unsuccessful. So I'm starting to realize that the only thing that really matters is your connections with people. So all of these alumni events that I'm seeing on Handshake, like I'm RSVPing for, I really think even internships, like I don't think working at Discover Kalamazoo is something I would consider doing in the future. However, I made really good connections with other employees there that could possibly lead to something down the road, which is a really positive thing.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, if you do need some help getting in contact with other alumni and stuff, this podcast, we usually interview them.
Perfect.
Yay. But no, yeah, I get that. I feel that right now. I am like, what was it? We have this new center downstairs, the career center. They sound amazing. They do like all those practice interviews and all that stuff. But I remember I did some stuff down there where they helped me like find like an entire all the I don't know, it was this weird test I think that I did, that I put in all the things I did, and they're like, and these are the things you need to search for on like search platforms, like job search platforms. Like these are the words you need to put in to make sure you find
like the buzzwords.
Yeah, the buzzwords.
The buzzwords.
Buzzwords.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, now we're close to wrapping up. So if there's anything you would like to add or shout out, this would be the time.
I don't know. I just feel like I really can't emphasize enough, like getting involved, especially both of us are products of COVID on Kalamazoo College campus. For the past 2 years, I've been an orientation peer leader, which has been great, and just getting to know everybody on campus. I don't know. I feel like one of the best things about Kalamazoo College is the size of it. So you really got to make it work to your advantage. Yeah, I guess that's all I really have to say.
Well, thank you for being on this podcast with me, Sam. It was a pleasure to sit down and talk to you. Thank you.
Yes, thanks. It was a joy talking to you as well.
Okay, we'll see you all soon. Bye.